It is Davis Gregory here with me, head coach Austin Swafford of the golf team, and next to me, Chris Brinkley, co-host here, and we're so happy to start our coaches show again and lead it off, well, I should say tee it off, with Coach Swafford of the golf team. And, Coach, coming into this season, first off last year, finished 5th at the OVC Golf Championships, and 2-year title reign came to an end there at Dalhousie Golf Club. If you could sum up last year, just in one word, what would that be?
Frustrating. I think it was hard for us to build momentum last year for a number of reasons. We finally got close in the spring. We had some good things working for us. And 2 out of 3 rounds at the OVC tournament, we were sitting in second after 36 holes. And the last round, we just had a bad day on a bad day to have one and dropped to 5th. So that's where we finished. A frustrating year kind of through and through, but it was also probably the year that we learned the most. So we're excited to see what happens this year.
What did you learn?
What not to do as a coach, I think, and how to handle certain situations a whole lot better than I did and that our staff did. So taking that forward, we only lost one player, and we got everybody back and then one new freshman. So from what we learned last year going to this year, again, I think it brings a lot of excitement as we get the ball rolling next week.
And you just mentioned it, one of my points on here. You return everyone but one, also add a freshman to the squad. What have you seen from the returners so far in practice, and also that one freshman as they come in and you've got your first event this next week?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of hard work pay off. We're right in the middle of qualifying right now for our first event, and 7 out of the 9 players through 3 rounds are all under par. So a lot of hard work this summer, a lot of experience where they've been able to learn and get better is paying off early. And my freshman, to your question, is sitting in 4th right now. Now, we got 2 rounds left, so we'll see if he, makes the lineup for the first one. But he's sitting in 4th out of 9 guys right now, and he's been here 2 weeks. So he's hit the ground running.
You mentioned hard work. A lot of people that are listening probably play golf.
Sure.
How do you approach that hard work? Is it disciplined and very methodical and structured?
I think it's different for each player. There are different strengths and weaknesses when it comes to golf. I think most of it is just learning how to manage your way around a course, learning how to score, and figuring out what works best for you. Some ways it might be attacking it kind of aggressive with length, and other ways it might be laying back and playing to your strengths with, a wedge or something into the green. I think it's different for each player, but whatever is the best way to get the ball in the hole, that's where it comes in.
And that's what I've noticed. You can play well and not score well. You
Right.
can play mediocre and score extremely well.
Absolutely. And we've seen both happen tons of times. So we take it kind of on an individual basis, and whatever their strengths are, apply that, figuring out, how Dax, for example, plays a course is going to be different than Bryson. It's going to be different than Luke.
And so first event this next week at Missouri and Cape Girardeau at the Golf Week Conference Challenge at Dalhousie Golf Club, August 4th through the 5th. So this is where the OVC Championships was held last year, correct?
Yeah, last 2 years.
So this course, what's it like? What's it play like?
I love the golf course. It's challenging. It's fair, but it's challenging. The greens, not super big, but definitely not small. They have a lot of undulation. You've got to know if you're going to miss, where we can miss. That way an up and down is relatively easy. We've got to miss it in the right spots. The fairways are decently generous as far as their width. So, from the tee box down to the fairway, we feel okay about that area. It's all second shot and in. If you can miss in the right spot and give yourself opportunities, the golf course will give you some chances to make some birdies. But if you're in the wrong spot, it's going to be a struggle.
So like in some sports where you scout the opponent, you actually scout the course.
100%.
Yeah.
It's not that we don't look at the opponent or we don't look at the field, but we don't have any control over what they do. We can't play defense against them. We've got to go beat the golf course. If we can beat the golf course, we got a chance. We'll see how they fall.
And as you've said, that varies from player to player. Because
Every time.
how you play is the course will play differently for each person.
Yes, I think it's one thing I learned so much about last year compared to my first 2 years. When we had a team meeting, we would talk about the golf course and go through each hole and had a lot of similarities as far as how we were going to play it. I don't want to do that this year. Again, how one person plays it may not need to be how another person needs to play it. Otherwise, I'm not setting the other one up to play to his strengths. So we got to analyze the golf course for each player and then let that all come together for the team.
And as you get ready, set for this lineup, you talked about some of the challenges that this course presents. Your lineup, do you have that set right now for this first tournament, or still working through some of those?
Still working through it. We've got 2 more rounds of qualifying this week. We're close, and I got a couple guys that should make it, but anything can happen. We got 2 more rounds, so.
Where are we mentally right now as a team?
Excited.
Yeah.
Excited. A new year. Our second event is our home event down at Jackson Country Club, and then we get off and running from there. So I think excited, just clean slate. There's a lot of energy, in our building right now, which is good. We've got great team camaraderie right now. I mean, even the guys that are on the bottom end of that qualifying that may or may not make it, their energy's good. So I think excitement and energy is what we're feeling right now as we get the year started.
And if you could say one thing right now your team has got to work more on, whether it be short game, driving, approach shots, what's the one thing you all need to focus in right now as you all get prepared for this tournament?
How to handle things when they don't go our way on the course. I don't think it has anything to do with a specific aspect of the physical game. It's mentally. In this game, it's the 6 inches between your ears. That includes me as a coach, and we've got to handle it well when things don't go our way. That way, when the next shot gets here in 30 seconds from then, we're ready to go. So that's what I would say.
All about body language. We
Definitely.
talked about that. I mean, when you recruit guys, it's about, okay, how do I react when I'm not playing the best round? And obviously that goes a huge part into setting this lineup and kind of how the terms of the season go, really, too.
Absolutely. Again, all the teams we play each week, whether it's this week or in the spring, 6 months from now, we can't play defense against those guys. We can only control what we do in our sport, and we'll see how they fall. So the better we can get at that, especially when things aren't going our way, the more we're going to be able to compete for tournament wins or an OVC championship come April.
And based on what you said about last season, you've raised the standard. Was last year motivation going into this year?
Yes, absolutely. I tell this story a lot. So when we finished, we had that bad day the last round at the OVC championship, and we dropped from 2nd to 5th and missed match play. We had a 2-hour van drive home. It was myself and Scott and 6 players. Nobody said a word for the whole 2 hours on the way home. It was the best and worst van drive I've ever been a part of. So using that as motivation this year, a clean slate, a lot of energy, to me that's where it came from. So anyway, we're excited.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Now joining us, the head coach of the cross country and track and field team, Jolita Henderson. Coach, thanks so much for joining us.
No, thank you for having me.
So, getting into the season preview, 16 returners, 8 on both teams. That's very impressive. You've got a lot of experience, and for a team that did so well last year, too.
Yes, most definitely. We're excited about this season. I think we have a really good group. We have a lot of leadership, so looking forward to see what they do.
And one of those returners, OVC Freshman of the Year, you've got Luke Johnson back on the team as well. And we look first at the men's team. Program best, second-place finish at the OVC Championships. I know that was something that you were really fired up about. Obviously wanting first, but still, what an incredible performance from those.
It was
from those
awesome.
men.
It was amazing. It was an amazing experience. And, just to continue to make program history like every year has been really great. Just 2 points away from that first place. You can't. It was just out of our control, but they did what they had to do, and I was really impressed.
What makes Luke Luke?
What makes Luke Luke?
Yeah.
Little LJ, that's what I call him, because we had Luke McNair on the team at the same time.
Yeah.
So LJ, he's hilarious. He's a part of the Mississippi Boys crew, and they just say some of the random things, and you just kind of never know what you're gonna get from him sometimes. But yeah, he's a very hardworking kid. You don't have to question whether he's doing right off the course or on the course. So it's really nice.
So who is in that Mississippi Boys group?
Mississippi Boys group. That would be Luke and Ethan and Chance.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so those are the comedians of the team
Yes.
right now. Okay.
Yes.
They provide the humor out there on the
Yes.
course. So men's team, they win at the Golden Eagle Invitational last year. And again, this group coming off one of their best seasons in school history. What are you seeing from them coming into this season?
They're hungry. They felt that loss. And even though a lot of the returners that were on that team before, the people that have come in and the ones that we do have coming back are ready. They're eager. They want better. They want more. And so just seeing their work ethic, even in the weight room, like they're pushing themselves more. The workouts have become a little harder. They just want it. They want it this year.
One of the things in your sport that separates athletes is just this much.
Yes.
That little margin.
Yes.
How do you overcome that or close that gap?
We try to close it in the weight room. If we can get you stronger. I know that you can run. You can run. That's perfectly fine. It's making sure that you're strong enough to be able to finish, have that kick at the end when other people can't, you know.
Yeah.
And Chris and I were talking about this before we even got on the air. Do you think that he and I could complete one cross-country practice?
Complete a cross-country practice?
Complete one.
Yes, you can
Really?
complete it. You can complete it. Now, whether or not you
Will
die.
we be in one piece at the end of this practice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll make it.
What's it look like? What's the practice look like?
Practice look like? Well, first off, you have to be up at 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, I
practice
think
starts
I'm
at
out
6
on that one.
because it's hot. It's hot.
Yeah.
One of my favorite workouts that they do is the heels on the golf course. Coach Swafford is very nice enough to allow us to use his area and stuff, so they do repeat 600s or 800s or Ks depending on what's going on that course of heels.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the golf complex, not
Yes.
just used for
Yeah,
golf,
yeah.
also used for
We use it
cross-country
too.
as well.
We use it too.
Now, no kidding. The last week we had record high heat index at 115. What'd
Yes.
you do?
So we have to go in the morning. So we go at 6. They do way too much mileage for them to go later on in the afternoon. So, and plus, cross country races are usually at 10 o'clock in the morning, so it's usually not that hot.
On to your women's team now.
Yeah.
Finished 6th in the OVC Championships. Had a season-best third-place finish at that Golden Eagle Invitational. Another solid performance from this team last season. What's this group bring to the table now?
This group this year, we brought in a graduate transfer, and Brooke exemplifies like leadership. She's older, so she kind of knows the ropes and stuff. And I don't feel like we had a lot of leadership last year. I feel like we were still a pretty much young team. So it's nice to see the sophomores now that were freshmen last year to grow and actually see them like, okay, like I've done this before. They go to workouts and they're like, oh, I know what this is. I understand how this works. And I think our leadership this year is going to be great and top notch.
And that leadership, what's that definition to you? A player who is a great leader?
A player that's a great leader is someone that leads by example and does not contradict themselves. So you don't have to be the greatest. You don't have to be the fastest runner on the team. But as long as you're saying that, okay, look, we're going to hold each other to accountable, hold up each other to a higher standard. We're going to keep doing those things that are right on and off the course. And you do that, that's what I would qualify as a great leader.
You got 7 upperclassmen on that women's side. So now on to this weekend, a late night cross-country meet in Memphis at the Memphis Twilight Cross Country Classic. Last season, men finished 4th, the women finished 7th. For the men, what's the lineup look like heading into this first meet of the season, and what are some of your expectations for them?
Honestly, this first meet is a rust buster. Honestly, Memphis, it's just fun. It's nice. They run at 10 o'clock p.m. It's nice to run underneath the lights and just see everybody go. It's just to kind of shake it off. Freshmen, here's an opportunity to run. It's a cool race. Not expecting too much. Usually they tempo their races. We don't actually get into like 100% racing until about Louisville.
So starting so late. I remember when I pitched in Little League, which was, coach said, don't swim, take it easy. What is the recommendation with eating, with what you do all day in preparation for a 10 o'clock start?
So obviously no one really likes to eat a lot before they run. So we'll probably leave from here around 5 o'clock. So that morning they'll do a shakeout, just get the legs moving a little bit, make sure they have a really big breakfast, a decent-sized lunch, but they tear up pizza when they get done running.
Do you know how many calories some of your athletes take in a day?
Take in a day?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No. Probably the one that eats the most, I would say, is Hudson, and he's probably my biggest distance runner, and that kid can, yeah, he can eat,
and it deserves it.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, when you're running 16-mile long runs, you kind of got to put that back somehow.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
On to the women for this meet. Expectations for them, and how do you see them performing?
Same thing as the men, just for them to go out, get the legs going, enjoy being in the race, learning how to race, because that's a big thing too. Cross country is such a sport where you can get spread out really quickly. So it's learning how to run in a pack, learning how to move together, work together as a team, and also be able to focus on yourself at the same time. So it's a mental challenge, but just getting our women, ready to race and ready for the season. And we have big goals this year, so looking for them to start that.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Joining us, first-year head coach of the UT Martin soccer team, Mike Varga. Coach, thanks so much for joining us here. First episode and a first-year head coach.
Oh, this is great. Thank you.
So we're going to take a look first at last week. Appalachian State, the home opener, fell in that one 2-0, but one of the hottest home openers ever. I don't have the statistics on that, but a heat index that was in the triple digits at first touch. What was the message to the team before y'all went out there in that heat?
Well, it was tough. We trained in it. We moved the match time to later on in the evening. So when the sun went down, it wasn't terrible. And I've been in the South for a while, so I've been part of those games. But I thought we handled it pretty well. But App was a good team and a tough match no matter what the conditions were.
And you were wearing a long-sleeve T-shirt to start the match too. I was very impressed by that because I went all shorts for the broadcast, and I was still pretty steaming hot.
I think there's some science behind keep the sun off your skin, and so that's what I'm going to go with.
I'm going to use that for the next time that we have a very hot soccer game. I'm going to use that. For you right now, learning new things about your team so far with the freshmen, but also some of the returners as well. You're learning stuff each and every game. So far, what have you learned about this team?
I've learned that this is an incredible group. That one of my non-negotiables as a coach is that we're going to work hard, and they have bought in and they've invested from the start. And I couldn't have asked for a harder working group of players. And sometimes when you come in as a new coach, there's some things you have to work through, but they've been so welcoming and so inviting. It's been wonderful.
And despite giving up 2 goals in that Appalachian State match, thought the defense played relatively well in that, and also you get Shayla Addington and the freshman Gwen Walters playing all 90 minutes. What'd you like from them?
No, I did. We have a lot of young players that are playing extended minutes. I liked that when you look at the statistics, and obviously the stat that counts is the score, but we actually kept the ball more than they did. So, and that's one of the things that we want to do is be able to connect passes and keep possession. And I think, coming from North Carolina, I've seen App, and that's how they play. They're pretty direct, and they use their athletes, and they can create some mismatches. They get the ball forward fast. But, the message to our team was we're going to keep working at how we play, and we're going to get better. I think App State is pretty much what they are right now, and that's how they're going to play all year. So I think there's a lot of room for growth in how we play, and I think we even got better on Sunday. But, we gave away 2 goals that we would like to have back, but, overall it was probably a fair result. They outplayed us a bit, and it was a good experience for our youngsters to get bullied a little bit too.
Moving on to that match that you just brought up yesterday. Western Carolina, a 2-1 victory, first win at home for you. So it went from blistering heat to pouring down rain. How'd you like your team's attitude with them having to deal with the weather there in that home opener and then also dealing with that rain on Sunday?
No, it was a good bounce back. I think we hit all seasons yesterday. I went from it was overcast at the start, comfortable, and then it went to the sun hit for a little bit, and then you saw the black clouds rolling in, and then the rain, and we were a bit fortunate. That I would like to say that we planned out that we would have the wind in the second half for the last 10 minutes, and I knew right when it was going to roll in, but a bit fortunate where we got the wind and the rain at our backs, and definitely helped on that final corner and help pin them in a little bit. But no, we scored a nice early goal. We were able to we gave one up, and we bounced back well after giving up a goal that equalized it, and hung in there and found the game winner. So it was I couldn't be happier or more proud of the team.
And 2 goals on 2 corner kicks, so 2 set pieces that work out for you, one of which was apparently planned on the second kick to be a shot for your player, for Katie, but we'll get to that here in a second. Take me back at first corner kick of the match. You go to Izzy Patterson, and she finds the net after the assist from Katie. What'd you like from that goal from those 2 very experienced players?
Yeah, I think there were some things we actually saw in how they defended corners that we could expose, and it was a perfect ball from Katie. Sometimes when you put a scouting report or you put a plan together, you still have to execute it. And Katie, with the experience and her ability, put the ball right where she needed to put it, and Izzy did exactly what she needed to do, and we were able to find the back of the net. And early goals can change games and help you build confidence, especially with a young team. And that was an important goal for us. And then, to give one away, and it was an incredible shot that they hit, but we bounced back pretty well after that too.
So the second corner of the match, Katie takes it, uses the wind to her advantage, and scores. Now, did you want her to go for that shot, or was it just Katie went out there and said, okay, well, I'm just going to try to score this, put it close to the goal? What was the game plan and strategy in that?
Well, right before she went to take it, I said, be careful of the wind because you're going to have to overplay it a little bit to the right. If it goes in the net, it's always a good game plan. And if it goes in the net, it's a shot.
Yeah.
So I know that after the game she said she meant to do it, and we're going to stick with that. But, that's a tough ball in traffic and with the wind and with the, it's a little bit slick. So you try to put it right on the goalkeeper. That's what she did.
Were you as surprised as all of us whenever she went and took that shot and took it right to the net?
No, we've actually done that a couple times in training where I want Katie take it from that side, and I've had a left-footed player take it from the other side. And if there's a goalkeeper we play against that's good off the line and comes out and catches those, then we'll back it off a little bit. But we'll go ahead and put it right on top of her and see what happens. And I think the wind helped a little bit too.
Upcoming now this week, SEC opponent Kentucky undefeated on the year, 2-0 with a draw. That'll be on Thursday on SEC Network Plus at 6:30. Last year they won the matchup here in Martin 4-1. What are some things you've seen from the Wildcats on film and just stuff that you're scouting right now from them?
They play a style that is, they like to keep the ball, and it can be frustrating to play against if you're chasing the game. They create chances, and I think they've been a bit unlucky with some of the score lines where they've had some better chances than their opponents. They're going to be a handful. They're athletic. They're good on the ball. They're technical. It's going to be a good challenge for us, but once again, one I think we're ready for.
And then Murray State on Sunday. So just so you know, around here, if you beat Murray State every time that you play them, you'll never have to pay for another meal in this town. So
right.
Just want to let you know that. If you beat them, then not just Zaxby's, everywhere, pretty much everything will be free if you beat Murray State.
All right, so no pressure on Sunday.
Yeah, no pressure on Sunday. The last matchup, it was a draw last season, 2-2. And for you all, as you move on through this non-conference part of the year, what are you looking to learn that's going to prepare you all come OVC play?
Well, I think the big thing is to continue to build confidence with how we're trying to play. And I'm learning all the opponents as we go too. I had some experience against App in Western Carolina coming from where I did, but learning, we've played some of these opponents. I have history against some of these opponents, but it's been a while. So it's just continue to build confidence with how we play. And my big message to our group is, one, I want them to have fun. I want their personalities to come out. I want them to not be afraid of making mistakes, and they just need to know how to respond to that. And I think they've done well with. I mean, you can see with the interviews they do after games and how they're playing. I think the personalities are starting to come out, and they're having fun, and they, not all the results go your way, but we're going to work hard, and we're going to see where that takes us this year.
And how important is it to be able to have a team that comes out of their shell and starts to interact with each other and starts to build that chemistry?
No, I think it's vital. I think it's the big thing for college athletes is they need to enjoy what they're doing, because if they're not, and sometimes being a Division I college athlete is a grind, but you still need to enjoy it and understand why you're doing it. And I think sometimes we lose sight of that. And as long as they're enjoying what they're doing, then they're winning. And, obviously, we're here to win games. If you can enjoy what you're doing and win games, now you've got a good combination. But if you're not enjoying it and college athletes aren't enjoying what they're doing, then I think you've got some issues.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Joining us, it is Kayla Carroll, graduate libero and defensive specialist from UT Martin Volleyball. Kayla, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So what class are you skipping right now? What do we get you out of?
I'm actually a grad student, so my classes are all online.
Oh, okay. Well, there it is.
I'm happy to be here.
Carve the time out of the schedule. Don't have to be in any Zooms or anything like that, so that's always good.
But you don't underestimate a graduate student. It's not easy, right?
Oh, no.
No, not easy, but I'd rather be here than doing an online class.
There you go. There you go. Weekend recap. Starting off, y'all went to Knoxville. First off, Marist beat them 3-1, first win of the season. and then at Texas State and Tennessee, losses in both those matches. What did you and your team learn from that trip to Knoxville?
I think going into the weekend, we knew that they were big competitions, bigger schools. We were just really excited to have an opportunity to grow as a team, which is, for us, what preseason is all about. We've been competing against each other in the gym, so to step on the floor against somebody else on the other side of the net was cool for us. We were able to see our weaknesses, but also our strengths. What we really took away was our defense, and that is something we're putting in to work this week, is that the identity of our team is our defense. We're scrappy. We make awesome plays. They might not always be the most conventional plays, and that's what throws off a lot of teams. But for us, being strong in our defense, and this weekend we were able to see how when our defense isn't there, offense doesn't follow. So for us, a big core strength is focusing on our defense and making those plays.
You sound like a coach.
Yeah.
No, you really do.
Forget Coach Wilson. We could bring on Caleb for all
No,
these
but I mean,
episodes.
being a graduate student and raising the standard and with the championships, how is your mentality different than it was a few years ago? Your mentality.
My mentality. When I first got here a few years ago, it was definitely, we were in the bottom of the conference, and it was trying to work our way up and get better and get better. And these past 2 years, we've been winning, and that has been super cool. And I've kind of changed my mentality to what can I do to make this team better. And that is something me and my roommate, Haley Paulino, she has also been here 5 years with me. And so something for us when we step on the floor is what can we do to make the girls around us better? We're older, we've been here, we're experienced, and especially going in, playing against Tennessee, they're big people. And something we kept saying was enjoy the moment. Like, we were in their brand new arena. It was awesome for us to be there and just enjoy being here with each other and enjoy the process.
Now, what's the biggest lesson that you and Haley try to teach to those younger players?
Definitely enjoy the process. Like, at the end of the day, we are also people, and we're playing a game that we love, and that is something our team has kind of taken as our identity this year, is being fun. And that is something in the gym, when you see us in practice, when we're playing together, it's fun to watch. And I think in the past we've been so ready to win, and we've been doing that. And I think now that we're all together in the gym, we're having fun playing the game of volleyball that we love. And it being my last year, I really focus on that when I walk in there each day, is enjoying it.
And
Because it can be a misconception that if you're having fun, you're not taking it seriously.
Yeah, no, and I think some people, when Jacqueline first mentioned that in one of the videos, we talk about balance, being balanced of having fun, but also working hard. And at the end of the day, we step in the gym and we are working hard, but having fun, having that balance makes it enjoyable. And because we all have the common goal, we want to win, but doing that, bringing our own personalities each day makes it fun. You never know what you're going to get when you're in the gym.
And we'll get to some of that fun that you all have in practice here soon. But first, week preview, the Dr. Mary Jo Wynn Invitational you all are about to compete in. Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Missouri State, and Kansas City. So not the Tennessees of the world that you're going to be going up against. As you all get set for this week ahead in practice, what are some of the things that you are going to be looking to improve on?
Definitely, like I mentioned, our defense. Earlier today in practice, Jacqueline was like, look, I'm going to be ripping balls at you. You throw your body behind it, we get it up, and that's part of our game. These girls, Missouri State and Kansas City, they are going to be bigger. They are a little bit bigger schools, and I think if our mentality can be that we will touch every ball, we'll be fine. And I think this week in practice, we're really going to, really hounding on that with our blocking, making sure our blocking thinks that they're going to touch every ball, and if they don't, we're behind them, we're touching every ball. So that's really going to be our focus this week.
Moving on now to the fun questions for you. So I told you about this. Once we get through some of the coaches' questions, we'll get to some fun questions. So preseason scrimmages. We've seen superheroes take on villains, Barbies versus G.I. Janes. Who comes up with this idea to have the theme for the scrimmages and have each team dress up?
It's Jacqueline actually started it. So
Okay.
in preseason, we played beach and indoor throughout to be easier on our bodies. And the first time we had themes was a beach practice, a beach duel. And it was Firecrackers versus Dream Team. And I was on a team, and then my two roommates, and we were like, we're going to make this fun. Preseason's already tough. Let's make it fun. And so they went to Walmart, and we got these chickens that made really annoying noises, and we were just running around the sand, and we all dressed up, and that's kind of where it started. And then we kind of toned it down for that. That was just the beginning. And then when it became G.I. Jane and Barbie, we were like, let's make something out of this. All of us went and got Barbie jerseys, G.I. Jane dressed up. We had our own theme songs, and that just was able to make it fun. We're there to work hard, but also have fun. And then the superheroes and villains was amazing. We had so many other athletes come and support us, and we really took that one top tier for sure.
That really helps you bond as a team.
Oh, absolutely. The night before, we had, at my house, we had the girls on the superheroes. They all came over. We were making our masks, our jerseys, all of that. And to me, that's what it's all about too. Just being around each other, having fun. So.
So what superhero were you?
I was Batman.
Okay, there we
yes,
go.
I was Batman.
Batman's great.
Absolutely.
Is Batman your favorite superhero?
It better be. Answer.
Yeah,
answer
yes, it
correctly.
is.
Thank
Definitely.
you.
It's Batman. And he doesn't have a superpower, but he's
still
he's
Batman.
10 out of 10. He's still Batman.
That's right.
I mean,
We
come on.
actually went to Walmart to buy these capes, and we thought they were going to be full size. We got home, and they were for children, for
Oh, yeah, the
toddlers.
mini-
Yes, but we were like, listen, these little capes are making us jump. So when we left this past weekend, Haley was like, let's pack our capes. But yeah.
So was that you're playing to be Batman? Is that your favorite superhero as well?
I think so.
Okay.
I would go for Batman.
Go for Batman. Okay.
Kind of spoke to me in the moment, so I went with that.
All right, it just rolled with it. Moving on. So working in sports information, I'm in the office that's in the field house. So we're right outside wherever y'all's practices are. And I hear everything, so I've got a few questions. First off, who's got the best practice playlist, and where can we find it?
Okay.
Because I'm going to be honest, I've listened to all the other playlists, football, soccer, all the other teams, and honestly, y'all's playlist is the best.
That is the best compliment you could have ever given us.
I'm just
honestly.
being honest. I mean, it is. It is the best playlist.
That is awesome. Hallie Everett, she actually is newer this year. She came in the spring, but she has a playlist for kind of every situation we're in. But when we come into practice, it's called like girl playlist, girl practice, and she puts that on and we're singing. I know you can hear us singing.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, one second I'm listening to Justin Bieber, and then the next, like this morning, Thomas Rhett was on, and it fit the tone of like a morning practice.
Yeah,
it was
Monday
great.
morning.
It was incredible.
Has there been a song on a playlist you weren't familiar with, and now it's one of your favorites?
Honestly, no, because that playlist has some new songs, but a lot of them are throwbacks. But there are some times where a song will come on and we'll be like, all right, next. Everyone looks at each other. We're like, next. And she'll be on her Apple Watch and she'll be like, I got you guys. And she'll turn to next.
So she doesn't take offense to it.
No, not
she's
at all.
okay. All right, we're just going to
But
skip over.
She's definitely the best.
Next one. Haley Paulino, a.k.a. Hank,
Yes.
has the loudest scream in the history of mankind. Why is that?
That is just her, honestly. That like embodies her whole personality. She does things at 100% level all the time, and she does everything to the best of her ability. And she's actually created a thing. I don't know if when you guys were watching us play Tennessee, if you ever saw us on the sideline on TV, we all put our arms around together and we scream. That came from her, and that's just a way for us to be like together in a moment and just like let out like a loud scream. We're reset and we're ready to go, but her scream is something else. For the rest of my life, that'll be ingrained in my brain.
I'm walking back to the office after getting some water, and it's quiet for about 5 seconds. No one says anything. And I just hear her scream, do I need to call 911? Did somebody get her? No,
It's honestly one of the best things to like pump us up and get us ready. And like that's one of her ways of like showing her support to her teammates. And that's actually an awesome
Well, I
feeling.
mean, we can't hear it because we don't have a recording of it, and she's not here. So what's it sound like?
Oh, you'll have to get her on here next week.
Okay,
She'll
all right,
show
we'll
you.
bring
She'll
it,
show
we'll bring
you.
in Haley with Coach Wilson.
Do you think the Zaxby's would care?
Well, hey, trial by
People
fire.
in the drive-thru could probably hear
We'll
her.
cross that bridge when we
Could
get
she
there.
scream from the field house and we hear it here?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
there we go.
Absolutely. So
Done.
just to follow up to that, how does having such high energy practices, you've got the scrimmages, you've got Haley screaming her head off, and you all just being so supportive of each other, how does that translate to the game?
Honestly, it actually makes it a lot more fun. I know that's like, I mean, we want to work hard and we want to play, but it does make it more fun. Like knowing like when we're having that high energy, like to me, that makes me feel like I believe in the person next to me and the person next to me believes in me too. And that is something when we play, and like this team is smaller this year and our chemistry can be something so special. And so when we have that high energy as a program, it scares the people on their side of the net. They're like, what is going on? Like,
Why are they screaming?
yeah,
all
or
over?
like this girl just messed up. Why are they screaming? Like, why are they still so excited? But that is something we take pride in. Like, we're there for each other, and that energy is something every single day. Even in practices, we show up, and that's us. That's just, we're high energy, we're fun, we're crazy, we dance. Like, that's just our identity this year.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Now the head coach of the UT Martin football team, Jason Simpson, joining us here on this inaugural episode of Skyhawk Sports Talk. Coach, thanks so much for joining us.
Well, thank you, and welcome to you. Your first show here.
Yes, it is.
Alongside the veteran Chris, so congratulations.
I appreciate it.
When you call me a veteran, I'm telling you,
There you go.
you're the veteran.
The only thing is you look the same for the last 20 years.
No, I've got
look the
pictures. We
same.
both look a little different, but it's all right, though, Coach. It's okay.
So, Coach, preseason practice, as we get into that, preseason now wrapped up. It is game week. For you in these preseason practices and scrimmages, everything completed. 6 days till game one now. How do you feel the preseason went overall?
First of all, it's my favorite time of the year, the camp. Spring practice probably number one, and then camp number two, because classes hadn't started. You got some new kids and other kids that are taking another step and improving themselves. And so it's football basically, 18 hours a day. So it's a lot of fun. Now, you're right, we're moving into the next phase of it. But I enjoyed camp. I think we got better. I think we kind of know what our strengths are and things we got to improve on. Thought defensively, we certainly took some steps. Thought offensively we're making progress. And when I say that, I'm not being critical of the kids on offense. There's just a lot of new guys. There's a lot of new guys, and so therefore, you're going to get better when you get into game week, because now your menu shrinks down, okay? And when you're installing during camp, right, there's a new packet of plays every day, which you will get to later on during the season when you get more game specific. So anyway, we're still work in progress right now on offense. Today's a big day for us as we get into this game week, but enjoyed the camp and love the kids' attitude. It was fun to come to work, fun to see them in practice every day, and I thought the defense really there was a lot of leadership and guys that wanted to get better.
And you've had 2 great years of quarterbacks. You had Keon Howard and then Dresser Wynn. Ahead of week 1, I know you're probably sick and tired about having to talk about the quarterbacks, just like where Ty is at Alabama and Coach Saban having to answer all those questions about quarterback. But for you, ahead of week 1, who's going to head out there for snap number 1 of the 2023 season?
Well, I don't know that I got to ask too much about the quarterback, to be quite honest with you. I mean, maybe people were thinking it, but, we had one that quit and left the program, so that ended that decision pretty quickly. Okay, and that's all right. Things come up. But Kincaid Dent will be our starter. And, so it kind of sped up his growth here in the last week, getting all those first-team reps. And Cody Sparks moved into the 2 role. And so, we were able to go ahead and make those adjustments now as we get ready to go into the season. But, and Kincaid's part of the, what I'm talking about on offense, the newness. And, there's a lot of things that were – the Dresser Wynn, right, had been with me 6 years. That Kincaid is a smart guy, but, he's been in the Ole Miss offense for the last four years under 3 different coordinators. So, I expect him to get better throughout the season.
And staying with the offense, you've had great experience at the tackle positions with Lamar and Gavin Olson there. But looking at the interior of the offensive line, what have you seen from them?
Really pleased with, Van Avery at the center position, transfer from Ohio. I really feel like he's going to be a good player for us. And Big Noah at the left guard, who's transitioning, transfer from Arkansas Pine Bluff, from the tackle position to the guard. It gives us a lot more length and size, in there. And Drake at the right guard is a very physical player who also can play center for us as well. And Josiah, can play all 3 interior spots for us. So, we feel like we got 6 guys, and we've got to find the 7th and the 8th and the 9th. That can play, in our league and be able to, play quality football.
Defensively, led by Dalen Dotson, O'Shea Baker. Josh Hastings also has been playing pretty well in preseason camp. Jay Rogers as well, and many others. But who has really stuck out to you on the defensive side of the ball during your preseason?
Well, all those guys have certainly had their moments, and they've all certainly improved from last year. Every day, I'm very pleased with our interior guys. Okay, what we've got to find out is that a byproduct of the offensive line? Where are they? So when you get into game week, you'll kind of see, okay, is our defensive line do we have as much depth as it appeared in camp? Okay, to play winning football. But, I'm not going to pick one guy, but there's some, Dot's had his days. Gio's had a lot of plays. Jay Rogers has improved as a 6-year guy. Smiley's been hurt at the nose tackle. Hopefully he came back last night. The linebackers, Jalen Sharp has certainly made a lot of plays, and we're longer and faster at linebacker this year. Even though there's some new names in there as well with Rob Hicks and John Ford graduating. So, I like our interior. I do. I think that's a lot of good players and a lot of guys that, if you look at our defense, there's a lot of UT Martin practices in those guys' background. There's a lot of guys that have been here, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and I'm seeing the benefits of that throughout practice.
And talking about that, lost a lot of players to graduation. You lost your John Ford, Rob Hicks, Colton Dow. Congratulations to Colton, leading receiver for the Tennessee Titans in his final preseason game. And Dresser Wynn getting some playing time for the Rams. So just sidetracking with that real quick, how awesome is that for you as a coach? And Rodney Williams with the Steelers too. How cool is it for you to get the box score and see I coach that guy right now. He's playing in the National Football League.
No, it is. It's pretty neat. You're right. I'm not going to downplay that. I'm very proud to be a part of that, proud of those kids and their journey through our program here at UT Martin. And, I was a fan like everybody else, getting a chance to watch those guys play. And, I know it's a nervous time for them. Tomorrow's kind of cut day and stuff, but they'll be successful whatever they do. We're keeping our fingers crossed and wish the best for them.
Does that motivate current players, you think, and does it help recruiting?
Yeah. Yes to both those. Yes, recruiting-wise, that's an easy, hey, look at and of course we've got Terry Williams and Peyton Logan and Jalen Moore, in the NFL, the Jaguars, and 2 guys in the Canadian League. So from a skill standpoint, that's something that gets those skill players excited that we recruit. But in the building, which is very, very important to me, on our team group text, right? Every time Colton or Dresser, somebody, has an article written about them, or there's a video, somebody with video on their phone and put it on our group text, and it's very motivating to know, hey, those guys sat right beside me. They listened to this same conversation that the coaches are saying right now. They sat here. They were blessed with ability, but their work ethic of those guys was second to none, and they left a legacy of themselves here at UT Martin.
Back to the preview for this team. Again, lost a lot of experience to graduation, but you look to this season, and you've got a new look conference, 3 FCS top 25 teams on the schedule. So how does this 2023 UT Martin Skyhawk football team find their identity and not get lost in what last year's team did or the year prior?
There's a lot of new guys on offense, so that's pretty easy. Kincaid Dent, I don't even know if he's met Dresser before. Okay, maybe he has one time. So I say that kind of tongue in cheek, but there's a lot of new faces. Those guys are just trying to get themselves lined up right and play winning football. And then on defense, from the positive standpoint, Gio, Smiley, Dalen Dotson, those guys have been in the FCS playoffs. They've been at Montana State. They know the tempo and the speed of what that takes. They know the quality of practices that it takes to have those opportunities. So, what I've seen is those guys are not looking ahead. They're going day to day, grinding it out, trying to get better every day because there's no surprises for them. Okay, so, that's what my hope is, and that's what I've seen so far.
Coach, we look at week 1. For the first time since 2014, UT Martin's going to play the FBS #1 ranked team in the country, and it comes in the form of back-to-back defending national champion, the Georgia Bulldogs. You look at this team on paper, and they've really got all the talent to go for a three-peat.
No, they've done a great job, Coach Smart, and that's you know how hard that is, right, to win back-to-back national championships.
Difficult.
I mean, it's not an accident. You don't luck into that. There was a plan and a thought-out plan, year-long plan, and they achieved it. What an awesome, just to watching that 2 years in a row. So much respect to a staff and to a program that can do that, and then we have the dubious opportunity to play them again as they chase their three-peat.
Whenever you go against an FBS opponent like this, do you treat this game more differently than you would a conference game, or is it just the same preparation for both?
Yeah, it's the same preparation. I mean, I don't know what other people do. I know what we do right now. A couple things. One, no matter if it was game 9 or game 7, okay, it always has to be about us first. Always has to be how we practice, how we prepare. Do we know who to block? Do we know what gap we got to be in? Do we know our game plan? It has to be about us. Now, obviously, the first game, even more about us, right, with the new players that I was talking about, okay, because there's a lot of players on offense that have never been on the field with me before, All right, and I've never been on the field with them, so there'll be some transition when it comes to that. So always about us, especially the first game, okay, and then you put the quality opponent that we're playing, then therefore that's the challenge, first game.
And then the other part of it is it's a big crowd. It's going to be loud.
Yeah, no,
and it's different than most of the crowds we play in front of.
Oh, certainly, and last year we functioned fairly well in the Knoxville crowd, okay. We did not in front of a quarter of that at Boise State, as we had a bunch of procedure penalties. So, you try to make those corrections and not let that get you because, you're fighting. Doesn't matter who you play, right? We always talk about beating the game. We always talk about, unforced errors. Those are things that are unforced errors, although, they come from the crowd, okay? But, the environments that you're going to play in. And so, we certainly got to have a plan for that and hopefully the kids will be able to execute. But, that is you put that with the first game with new players against a quality opponent, certainly a lot of challenges.
And it's going to be Georgia's first night game in 2 years as well. So a lot of people, Coach, they would say going into this first game, they just want UT Martin to get out of it healthy. Some want UT Martin to come out here and get the greatest upset in the history of college football. But for you, what's your goal week 1 against the Bulldogs?
Well, I mean, you try to win every game you line up and play. We're all competitors, and I would never sell our program short and our players short. Okay, so you call the game to try to have success. Never going into a game. I give our players way more credit than that of whoever we play. We just don't want to get somebody hurt. I think that's a defeatist attitude, okay? And I think that's not fair to the player. These seniors have only got 44 quarters left of their college football career, okay? So you give them a game plan, you coach them, and everybody's going in the same direction. So that never comes up. We don't ever talk about anything like that. Now, strategy-wise, I mean, we understand, we know what we're facing, we know. Some things you may see us do it next week, we won't do this week because we do understand, that's part of your game plan. We do understand, some speed advantages they have, some size advantages that they have. We don't want to put our quarterback in bad situations. We don't want to put our, any position in a bad situation, but yet at some point you still got to compete and give yourself a chance.
Well, Coach, you've taken out one FBS team in your career, got Memphis 2017 at the Liberty Bowl in 2012. For you, what's it take to beat an FBS opponent?
I don't know if it's any different than any other quality games. But I know what you're saying about that. And my experiences with it, a couple things that happen. When the crowd gets into it, okay, I think that happened to us a couple years in Florida, right? The game was fairly close. The crowd gets into it. Here comes a punch. And you got to be able to stand it. You got to be able to stand it. First and foremost, you can't beat yourself. You can't let unforced errors, and then all of a sudden, you're out of the game in the first quarter because you're, always behind the chains.
Right.
Those are things that can happen. If some things go your way early, right, at some point, a crowd's going to get behind their team and the energy's going to come, right? You got to be able to take that punch, and then it's kind of the normal thing where, can you get to the second half, just like we would when we played any quality teams? Can you get to the second half with an opportunity? Those are things that as a head coach are at the back of my mind, but right now, we're just, hey, let's get lined up correctly, let's communicate with each other, let's get the ball snapped, and everybody get a hat on a hat.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.